Welcome back. The 2024 election is turning into one of the most significant in our time. And the youth vote could matter more than ever before. By 2024, Gen Zers and millennials will make up nearly half, 48.5% of the voting population, an opportunity for Democrats and Republicans alike. That is, if young people actually register and come out to vote. No one knows this better than our next guest, Mandana Dayani, creator and co-founder of the nonpartisan movement I Am a Voter, which aims to create a cultural shift around voting and civic engagement, primarily with Gen Z and millennial voters. And Mandana, I'm so glad to have you on the show. Finally, we're getting this started. We, of course, know each other through Know Your Value and the 3050 Summit, which we will get to. But first, tell us about I Am a Voter and your sort of aha moment when you thought, I've got to launch this. It's personal to you.
Very personal, and thank you so much for having me. So I was born in Iran under an authoritarian regime, and as Kurdish Iranian Jews, it just wasn't very safe to be there. And so my family and I fled when I was around 6 years old and went to Italy and eventually gained asylum into the United States through an amazing organization called HIAS. And, you know, I really went on to live the American dream and started as an attorney and built brands across fashion, entertainment, and tech. And then my life completely changed. I was on parental leave with my second daughter, and I saw the first coverage of the child separation policy at the borders. And I had this like incredibly visceral response. I got on a plane, I went to Tornillo, Texas, where the first camps were. I just had to see it. And I knew in that moment that something was incredibly broken. You know, when we came to the United States, I remember arriving in New York, and it was this incredibly terrifying place. I didn't know the language. I didn't know where we were. I missed my home, and I just held my mom's hand, and I knew I'd be okay. And to think that the most vulnerable populations in the world came to our country, by the way, because we asked them to, like we actually put it on the Statue of Liberty, and in that moment, we did the worst thing we could do and take their kids away from them. I just couldn't understand. And so I started taking meetings with members of Senate and Congress asking, you know, how can I help? Can I help with messaging? What can I do? I'm a brand person. And they all kept saying, we need more people to vote. And I just didn't know what else to do other than try to help rebrand civic engagement. And so brought together about 25 incredible women in CAA. And we really worked together to launch I'm a Voter as a nonpartisan civic engagement organization that just celebrates voter identity and makes it really mainstream and aspirational.
So tell us about the success of I Am a Voter, how it works, and now moving forward with this initiative, what's the number one issue keeping you up at night when it comes to getting young people to vote in the next election?
You know, I think young voters are this incredibly powerful and thoughtful generation, and they are the largest voting bloc America has ever had. But they've been left out of the political process, I just think, for far too long. And we hear all the time, like, they're not going to show up, they're not going to vote, they don't care, they're apathetic. And I think that couldn't be further from the truth, right? This is a generation that cares deeply about issues, and they're the most diverse generation we've ever had. And by the way, they do mobilize. I mean, like, look at what they did when Taylor Swift tickets went on pre-sale. Like, they know how to show up. And, you know, they faced a decade-long erosion of barriers, you know, for their voting rights. And they still surprised us in the midterms and were key deciders in swing state elections this last cycle. And I think, again, what we need is their issues to be prioritized. And we need politicians to follow through on their promises to them. You know, we know they care about climate. We know they care about gun safety. We know they care about racial and economic equality. And they're not really seeing the results, and they're not being included in the process. And they're the ones inheriting our country.
Yeah. You have said that with the next presidential election especially, that you want to make I Am a Voter as sort of epic as a Marvel movie. So what are the strategies to do that? Because, I mean, like you said, they showed up for Taylor Swift tickets. How do you get them to show up to vote? What are the strategies?
You know, when we launched I'm a Voter, we really did look at it as a marketing campaign for civic engagement. The people that work on this campaign are the absolute best in, you know, brand marketing, content, And we have worked with the largest corporations and brands, influencers, creating content, trying to meet voters where they are on the platforms that they are on, leveraging culture in a way that we know will have an impact on voters. Right, I'm seeing Bumble there. We did an incredible campaign with them where you could add a voter badge next to your name, because like, who wants to date a non-voter? But also, hey, you're going to wear boots. We're going to put I'm a voter on them. AMC Theaters has people in their seats watching films. Great. We're going to do a PSA. We're going to bring Hailey Bieber in. We're going to give people registration tools, civic engagement information, and figuring out, again, we know all the time how much consumers relate to brands and that they're making decisions every day between brands. And so we've brought them into the process. We've brought influencers. And again, it's look at the turnout for Barbie. I think that's the energy and Barbie and Oppenheimer that we want to bring into this next election, and I think we can do it.
And how can people get involved if they want to know more?
We have created an incredible text platform that allows you to confirm your registration and get reminders on all local, state, and federal elections. We meet with companies all the time. We meet with people all the time. And I'm like, what do you have? Do you have windows? Can I put stuff in your windows? Are you making packages? Can I put stuff in your boxes? Creating content, engaging with voters where they are, but really visiting I'm a Voter and just volunteering to help and doing as much as you can to drive voter engagement all the time. This isn't like you just vote one time and you're done with democracy.
No. Mandana Dayani, thank you so much. We're going to be hearing a lot more from you in the months to come leading up to the election. Can't wait to hear much more about I Am a Voter. Also, so enjoyed having you on stage with me at the 3050 Summit. You were amazing. We were talking about the power of communication, the power of negotiation, the power of voice, the power of silence. Mandana really resonated with the audience, the global very diverse audience that wanted to hear more about how to communicate effectively and become successful in what you want to do. For more information on I Am a Voter and Mandana's story, head over to knowyourvalue.com.